I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where two teachers unwind, sip wine, and each teach a lesson we can't teach at school. What are we drinking, Hayley?
We are drinking Yes Way Rosé 2019, to be specific. Obviously, if you've listened to us before, we don't usually go for rosés. We're red wine girls through and through. But I'm not disappointed with Yes Way Rosé. It's a very dry.
Yes.
It's your classic rosé. You get hints of ripe strawberry, citrus, and stone fruit, and it's really cute.
Yeah, it's adorable. The lid is like a pink and white ombre, and it just looks cute.
Yeah, it's chic. Yes Way Rosé. I believe that it's a woman-owned company. Don't quote me on that though.
Yeah, I think it is too. I'm like glancing at the back label, and it's also from the south of France, so she's bougie.
She is bougie, and she, on their website, I was reading up a little bit more about it, since this is, rosé is such a new concept for me. But they were saying that it really does go well with any time of year, like summer, Yes Way Rosé, winter, Yes Way Rosé. But maybe that's just wine in general.
I think so. Like I can't think of a wine that doesn't pair well with, what did it say? All seasons?
All seasons. Yeah. It was like, it went through one of those things that I have it right here. It says spring, rosé, summer, rosé, fall, rosé, winter, you guessed it, rosé.
See, this just feels like a trick they're playing on us to get us to buy rosé, because rosé is a summer, maybe spring.
Yeah.
Like don't catch me drinking rosé in the winter. I won't.
Are you marketing me? Is that what you're doing? Telling me I can drink at any season?
Yeah, it's like how on the back of like cat treat bags it says like feed 6 treats for every like 4 pounds of your cat every day, and it's just like, no, that's not right. You're just trying to get me to buy more cat treats.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but I'm not going to weigh my cat. I'm not going to do math on my downtime.
Oh, especially not to like give it treats, but also like cats don't need a meal of treats.
Just kidding.
I do. They get treat time every night.
You're like the treat lady.
Yeah, they have to have desserts. They need like a little snack in between dinner and breakfast. So like I give them a treat right before I go to bed, and it's treat time.
Oh, you said between dinner. Oh, I see. Between dinner and breakfast.
Yeah,
I thought you were
something to tide them over.
Breakfast and lunch. I was like, how do you get them treats at like in the mid-morning?
No. But yeah, while I make my tea at night. So they're triggered by the sound of the teapot screeching, and they run into the kitchen.
That's probably why Safety was screaming at me last night. I wasn't at our house.
Yeah, probably. He knows. Safety's he's always the first one.
He's the first cat to scream on the track. Yeah. Well, let's bring it back to rosé real quick, because I am really glad that we've partnered with High Point Grocery, because we get to try all these different new wines when we'd usually just stick to our boxed wine, and we've developed quite the palate.
Yes, we have. And if you want to be like us and step out of your comfort zone, you can go to High Point Grocery, that is on 469 High Point Terrace, and pick yourself up a bottle of Yes Way Rosé.
For $13.99.
Yeah. Get yourself some.
Go ahead. Go on. We'll wait. I'll wait.
I'll wait too. Today's been a day.
Really? What happened to you today?
I made 2 TikToks for the first time today and put them on our TikTok.
I didn't know that was today.
It was today. I changed clothes for each of them, so it didn't look like it was all today.
It is the trickery that pleases me.
Yes, exactly. I like put on a bunch of gold necklaces and gold earrings. I'm like, TikTok likes this. And then I did the thing, and I was so nervous recording these TikToks that I was trying to hold my phone up. I already told Hayley this, but my hand was shaking, and I had to like sit by the windowsill so I could like rest my hand on the windowsill so that the thing wasn't all shaky.
It is nerve-wracking. I don't know why.
Yeah, because it feels like you're doing it in front of an audience, even though you're not. You can stop the video and start over.
I can imagine what they're going to be thinking when people do see this, even though it's not right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm terrified of being bullied on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I feel like TikTok's really nice though. There's just something intimidating about like making videos. I feel like it's much different than just posting a picture.
Definitely. And I'm a stupid idiot and like had the time set to 15 seconds. And I was trying to make my video and I was like, this is a really fast minute. Like it must just feel faster when you're the one talking. And I posted them and I was telling Hayley, I'm like, yeah, a minute feels faster than I thought. And she's like, you dumbass, like you had it set on 15.
Whoa. I would never call you a dumbass because I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. It's so funny though that you're like, this is a minute.
I know. I was like, I feel like when I watch other people's videos, they like are able to put so much information in it. I'm like, I know I talk slow, but I didn't know I talk that slow.
I have to go back and listen to them because I couldn't. I went to the hair salon today, but when I was blow drying, I couldn't hear anyway. So I'll have to go back and listen to see what the heck you were talking about.
Yeah, now I'm embarrassed because like at the end of the video, I'm like I get cut off. It's like if I had just said it to a minute, I could have said everything I wanted to say.
You could have said it slow too.
Yeah, I could have talked at a normal pace.
Well, good job making TikToks.
Thank you. Also, by the way, it was not on my personal TikTok. I am still not brave enough to post on that, but it is on Night Classy's TikTok, so go follow us there.
At Night Classy.
At Night Classy. We're going to start posting summaries of our lessons each week, along with clips of us recording in the studio. So,
and who knows what other trickery could go on over there.
I know. I feel like we've planned all these TikTok videos and then never done it. Meanwhile, Tommy's getting TikTok famous.
Yeah, he is.
He has like a viral video every other day.
I know. I'm so glad he went to TikTok because they actually get seen there and he gets so many new followers and whatnot versus on Instagram is just like, just as friends, which is fine. But, growth is good too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. His last video of going to drive-thrus in Memphis killed me. I was dying.
I know. It's too accurate.
Yeah, going pretty much anywhere in Memphis, but especially the drive-thru.
Yeah. The food service industry is just not great in Memphis.
It's because our minimum wage is so low to raise it.
Yeah, why
so
would
I can
you
actually
want
get
to
what
do
I
a
order.
good job?
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't.
Neither.
No. Yeah, I don't have anything else besides housekeeping. You've been sick all week, so you don't have any news.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I went to bed after school every single day this week, and I'm still not 100%, but I'm here for you all. So
yeah, she's trying. She's got her cold brew, her sweatpants.
Yeah, I went super casual. Like getting dressed up for Night Classy is one of my favorite parts of the week, but today the most I could do was my eyebrows and eyeliner.
You look great. I couldn't even tell you were sick.
Oh, thank you. My eye keeps twitching too. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't tell.
That's good. It stopped.
You and Safety are both just sitting there with like a single eye twitching.
His little eye twitch is so cute.
I know. It was cute. I was watching a TikTok today and someone was saying that like their cat's eye kept twitching and they brought it to the vet and it turned out their cat had chlamydia.
Don't say that to me.
Well, there's no way Safety could have chlamydia.
He has AIDS.
A baby. That's true.
AIDS.
That's true. But like he'd have no way of getting chlamydia. But
I mean, we don't know.
That's true. We don't know what he does at night, where he goes. No, we do because they're indoor cats, but our cats have been dying to go outside every day. So we got them like these neon orange collars that have their names and our phone number like printed on them in black.
Smart.
Yeah. They're like their prison jumpsuits, but collars. And then they can go outside.
Have them on all the time or just when
No, just when we take them outside. And when they're outside, we like keep an eye on them and make sure they stay in our yard. They don't just get free-for-alls, but sometimes Ghost will hop over the fence into the neighbor's yard. And so good to have a collar on.
It's
just
handy.
To be safe.
Yeah. Tag them.
Yeah, that's right. Alex said that when he was putting the collars on. He's like, I feel like I'm tagging a wild animal.
You pretty much are a wild domesticated animal. That's what those two are.
I mean, when we did our episode on cats, we found out that cats like are not domesticated. I mean, they technically are, but like they can interbreed with wild cats.
They're wild boys.
Feral. And they came from African wild cats, which look like identical to house cats.
Yeah, they
basically
are
wild animals.
Wow. Makes me feel like I'm abusing an animal by having a cat.
No, he has a better life in our house.
I sure hope so. I mean, if he's out there getting chlamydia and a freaking ringworm. How's your ringworm?
Don't even talk about I'm like embarrassed to talk about my ringworm on here now.
Since when?
Since I literally have 12 spots of it all over my body. It's just spreading. Like, I think I need to go to the doctor and get a pill. We've been having like new listeners lately. And if this is your first time listening to the show, we've been battling ringworm since we got our shelter cats a year ago. And they came into our house with ringworm from the shelter. It's not a worm. It's a spore. So like, I don't have worms, but it is like a fungus. It's disgusting.
Go get yourself some steroid cream.
I have so much cream.
Some doctor prescribed cream.
But I feel like the cream I have is like exactly what the doctor would prescribe me. Like I bought a $30 bottle of cream on Amazon that's like the size of a like travel size toothpaste. There is a pill you can get, but I don't know. I feel like whatever.
Maybe you should just embrace it.
I think I have 2 spots on my face, 1 on my neck, 1, 2, 3, 4 on my hand, 3 on my arm, and 2 on my leg.
You're different. You're unique.
I'm certainly unique.
Ring woman.
This is so embarrassing. I swear I'm not dirty. I'm treating it. It came from the cats.
It's hard to get a
handle
handle
on. It does
on.
not fucking go away.
If you too have experienced ringworm.
Yeah, we're in this together, and reach out if you have any solutions because it's a problem in our house. I wash my bedding. I wash my clothes. Like I really like, I want to make this very clear. I'm handling it, but it's a difficult thing to handle.
It is. What if you just started crying?
I feel like crying. Every time I get a new spot on my body, I feel like crying. Like now I have a second one on my face. I already have one on my eyelid.
I feel really bad for you right now.
You should. Everyone should feel bad for me, especially because I'm broadcasting like the most embarrassing facet of my life to everyone.
Hit us up on Patreon so that Kat can get a handle on this infestation.
Yeah, I just bare my soul to you guys, so pay us back.
You owe us after this.
Truly.
The listeners are like, no, you owe me after what's happening to my ears right now.
Yeah, right. You just put me through trauma telling me about this disgusting disease you have. Thank you.
Everyone, send us your ringworm pics.
What? Oh, pics.
What did you think I said?
When you said picks, I was thinking about like a draft, and then it like made me think of a bracket, and then I was thinking about like putting my ringworm spots like against each other in a bracket and seeing which one would last the longest. So I looked distracted for a second because I was thinking about that.
Oh my God, you should do that. We should draw faces on the spots.
Oh my
give
God.
them personalities.
We should. I should give them all names. This is so disgusting.
Let me get some gloves first. I'm not gonna get
definitely don't touch them.
Let me get my hazmat suit.
It's probably best just not to touch me or anything that I've touched.
Oh no.
Shit. Speaking of Patreon, I do want to shout out Matt Ebert. He's been a Patreon since the very beginning, but he just raised his pledge to $5. So shout out Matt. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. So he'll get a sticker in the mail and he gets a shout out for being a $5 Patreon.
Thank you, Matt.
And he bought stickers yesterday.
He did?
Yeah.
Cool.
Enjoy that merch.
Yeah. We have glitter stickers and Magic School Bus Learning Journey stickers. So check that out. And cool. Well, we breathalyzed and I blew a .021.
I blew a .01 something.
So I get to go first, and we're just going to stay on this Patreon train because this is a Patreon pick. If you don't know, if you donate $10 or more per month, you get to choose a lesson. It can be whatever you want. We've never vetoed a lesson, so go wild. This is an amazing lesson chosen by Cheyenne. She was our 50th Patreon, so she's very special. And this is a unique Patreon lesson because this is actually a lesson on Cheyenne's great-great-grandfather. And
whoa!
Normally, I would not agree to do a lesson on someone's relative, but like her great-great-grandfather, like seriously had such an incredible life and is literally a historical figure. So we're going to talk about him.
Yay, it's her papaw.
It is her papaw. Her great papaw. Her great papaw. Yeah. Papaw's name is Samuel Garland.
So that sounds like a grand name already.
It does.
Garland. Christmas. Special. Lights. That's what I think of. That's my thought process. I don't know why.
I wish my last name was a thing so I could like have a thing, you know? Like if my last name was Star, I'd get like stuff with stars on it.
Well, there is a company in like the industrial part of Memphis that is called Barnhart.
It's a timber company and I get asked all the time if like that's my family's company.
You should be
and
like, hell yeah.
I'm like, I work at a school. Like I do not come from the Barnhart legacy.
You'd be like, I would definitely be chopping and hauling wood if I were a true Barnhart, a Memphis Barnhart.
No, I'd be set for life and I would never work.
Oh my gosh. I would, I don't know what I would do, but
I'd honestly probably still be a teacher, but I'd have a much cooler thing.
You'd shout out your fam a lot more often.
Your middle name is Winter, so it's very close to Garland, Christmas, and lights.
That's true. I could have like a wintry theme of things, but I mean,
you're icy, pricey.
Ooh.
What is the rest of that song?
I don't know what song you're talking about.
I'm icy, pricey. Girls want to fight me. Something like that.
I thought you were just free associating. And I was like, wow. Icy, pricey.
No, I think it's a Saweetie song or someone in that general field of music. Anyway, back to Sam Garland.
We're
already derailing. Damn it.
I'm so sorry, Cheyenne. So he was born into slavery in Lafayette County, Mississippi in February of 1847. His father was African American and his mom was Cherokee Native American. And he lived with his mom until he was 4 years old. And then he was separated from his mom and sold into Arkansas. We don't know much about his early life, at least I don't. But when he was 14 years old, he worked as a cabin boy on a riverboat. This would have been around the time of the Civil War beginning. Sam, not obviously, but he never attended school. But then as an adult, he did end up getting an education and gained a really deep knowledge of business and politics. When the war ended in 1865, Sam would have been 19 years old.
Isn't that so crazy? Like, we learn about the Civil War in history class, but it's so crazy to get reminded it wasn't that long away.
No, not long ago. And none of my family is from the South or even the East Coast, really. Like, I don't have deep roots in America, so it always like astounds me when people have family stories from the Civil War and even before.
This is insane.
It's wild. So Sam was freed and he went to Illinois. He ended up working various jobs, but then in June of 1867, he joined Company F of the 10th U.S. Cavalry at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. Do you know what a cavalry is?
I thought that it was a group of people like in the military.
Yeah, but do you know like what makes the cavalry unit distinct?
No, the only other thing I think of when I hear cavalry is what's his name in Twilight? Alice's boyfriend? Jasper. Yeah, he was in like the cavalry, right? Yeah,
I don't know. I know he like fought in the Civil War and then like the Spanish War, or maybe he just fought in the Spanish War.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the only other thing I know about cavalry.
Well, cavalry is like a unit of the military that rides horses. Like their whole thing is they're on horseback. So Sam was a horse boy.
Yeah, okay.
So we have quite the connection.
So talk horse to me.
Yes, papaw. He's a horse-papaw.
That was really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. A little too good, but good nonetheless.
Thank you. I'm proud.
You're blushing.
I was literally one of those kids that would run around on four legs and like jump over things. Like,
I mean, you wouldn't be a horse girl if you weren't.
That's true. And see, I'm not ashamed. Hayley, what have you done that's embarrassing? Because I have ringworm and horses. That's been ongoingly publicly acknowledged.
I've pooped my pants as an adult within the last year and a half.
That's true.
Like the first day of 2020. We've talked about that so many times.
Yeah.
What else have I done that's embarrassing?
I don't know. I've never seen you do anything embarrassing.
I'm sure I say plenty of stuff that ends up getting like edited out that's just stupid on this podcast. So
maybe.
I'll think on it.
I'll have to think about it. Once you think of something, actually, next time you do something embarrassing, I'm going to talk about it forever.
Just remember,
I'm done being the
Seems like you're
problem
a little
child.
vengeful.
I am. So the 10th Cavalry Regiment was one of the original Buffalo Soldier regiments of the post-Civil War. And it was an all-black U.S. military cavalry unit. And they got nicknamed Buffalo Soldiers. We're not 100% sure why the all-black 9th and 10th Cavalries were nicknamed Buffalo Soldiers, but there are two theories. One was that the Native Americans likened the soldiers' like dark curly hair to that of a buffalo. And the other theory is that these buffalo soldiers fought so fiercely that Native Americans revered them as they did the buffalo.
Either way, cool.
Yeah. It's a cool name, and especially after the Bob Marley song. And so Sam became a Buffalo Soldier. Like I said, Buffalo soldiers were African-American soldiers who served mainly on the Western frontier. So there was a lot of Western expansion and colonialism after the war. So the main task of the Buffalo soldiers was to protect settlers and like wagon trains as they moved west. Unfortunately, this meant that their main job was controlling the native populations, especially through force and violence. And so I do think we have to look at this through a nuanced and critical lens, because on one hand, colonization is tragic and was devastating to the North American indigenous people. And we look back on this as something that was wrong. But also, this 10th Cavalry was Black men straight out of slavery who now had these respected government positions. So they really represent this progress. And it's just like incredibly cool that Cheyenne's relative was part of this.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Overall, Buffalo Soldiers' main responsibilities tended to include like capturing cattle rustlers and thieves. They protected stagecoaches, wagon trains, and railroad crews along the Western Front. Buffalo Soldier regiments were very successful, so two more all-black regiments were created, the 24th and the 25th regiments. Like I said earlier, Sam was on the 10th, so I did some research into the 10th Cavalry. I just got really nervous. I'm so nervous to do this one.
Don't be nervous.
Because I want to do Cheyenne's relative justice.
I understand.
I'm going to breathe for a second.
I understand. Obviously, she trusted us enough to cover the story of Sam's life.
Definitely.
Wow. Also, I wish they named cavalries like names instead of numbers. That would make it much easier for me.
Yeah. Really, you just...
As an idiot, that would make my life easier.
Really, you just have to know that Sam was on the 10th.
Okay, yeah.
And so, like I said, I did some research on the 10th. It was based out of Leavenworth, Kansas. It was commanded by Colonel Benjamin Grierson. Grierson wanted a cavalry of more educated men. So it took him a lot of time to build this 10th Cavalry because he was seeking out the most educated men he could find in the area. Among them was Sam. And in August of 1867, the regiment was ordered to Fort Riley, Kansas. Their job was to protect the Pacific Railroad, which at the time was being constructed. But before they left, they engaged in two separate battles with the Cheyenne Native Americans. These were not the only battles that Sam engaged in. He was part of a lot of different battles. One of the biggest was that he was part of the rescue party that saved the survivors of the Battle of Beecher Island. And Alec encouraged me to elaborate on the Battle of Beecher Island, and I'm so glad that he did because it was wild. So I'm going to go over it a little bit. It was in western Kansas. There were groups of Native Americans, particularly one group of the Cheyennes. And it wasn't all of the Cheyennes because I guess there was a schism where some of the Cheyennes most of them actually wanted to make peace with the settlers. But then one group was like, no, fuck this. Like, we're going to fight them. Understandably.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
Right. So this group was pretty violent and they were attacking and raiding white settlements and wagon trains and trains. So, so soldiers went in, especially like after one incident, they attacked, a train. And, the white colonists were pissed. So soldiers went in to retaliate against them. They ended up following them into Colorado to what was then called Delaware Creek. They set up camp along the creek and went to bed. But at dawn, one of the soldiers spotted a silhouette of a feathered head, like a warrior's headdress. And so he shot and killed them. this started a fight. And the soldiers were surrounded by Native Americans all over the land side, and then their backs were to this big river.
Shit.
Oh, shit is right. They were trapped. And they were literally trapped. Like, they could not get away. So what they did was they shot and killed all their horses and created a barricade with these 50 dead horses.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they dug a ditch, like a trench behind the horses, and they got in the ditch, so they were like lower underneath them.
That seems like all of this seems like it would have taken a long time. Were the Native Americans like, just take your time, we want this to be a fair fight?
No, but like, I think it was kind of a standoff, because I think that if they had... Like, I think their numbers were pretty even, so they probably didn't want to just like rush in and like have an all-out battle. But it was like, who's gonna like we're not gonna let you leave. But so they were like kind of stuck. But they did this probably within an hour, like killed all the horses, dragged the horses over, and like got behind them.
That's
and
crazy.
Then it's just like, and we wait. But they were like, still shooting at each other over the barricade, like kind of seeing like, trying to shoot them and see if they'll leave.
Yeah.
But they weren't leaving. Lots of people were dying. And so on the second day, they're like, okay, we got to get help. So they sent 2 scouts out. And so the scouts left in the middle of the night. They crawled on their arms, like army style crawled for 3 miles and then 4 days.
Whoa.
Going through like Cheyenne territory, trying not to get caught by... Oh, and they only had horse meat to eat, and the horse meat uncooked, and it was rotting. So they were getting sick and crawling through the woods. And by the time they reached help, they could barely stand.
Wow, that's insane.
The help was 70 miles away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would have given up.
Oh, me too. Like, this sucks. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't know if you said this because I was writing something down, but like the place where they were trapped was an island where a river split. Did you say that?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't think it was like that.
Yeah, I just thought it
necessary.
helped kind of, there were Native Americans on both sides.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the colonists were stuck in the middle.
Yeah, like in
Okay.
kind of like a V-shaped
Gotcha.
land. So yeah, they were trapped.
Yeah, so it was like if the Native Americans tried to make an advance, they would get shot. If the scouts tried to leave, they would get shot.
Mm-hmm. So the reinforcements got back, and like they just saw like absolute carnage. Because these guys had been gone for 4 days, and then it took them with their reinforcements like another 4 days to get to them. And so it had been over a week, and the dead horses were just like rotting.
Oh, that smelled terrible.
Yeah, it must have stank. And like the survivors, the guys who were still there were like eating rotten horse meat to stay alive. And it was just like fucked all around. And with the reinforcements, that wasn't like enough to really help. So they had to send in 3 more rescue parties. And among them was the 10th Cavalry of the Buffalo Soldiers and Sam.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wild. So, yes, the Buffalo Soldiers' main job was to battle with indigenous people and aid westward expansion. But in 1890, the 9th and 10th Cavalries had a new assignment. They were to protect native land in Oklahoma from being illegally settled by white settlers. So there's a little bit of irony here. The Buffalo Soldiers were also tasked with protecting national parks. They fought wildfires and poachers in Yosemite and served as park rangers in the Sierra Nevada.
Wow. I mean, shout out to you, Cheyenne. This is the coolest story. Congrats on having a cool papaw.
Right. Definitely. I'm a little bit jealous.
A little bit. Yeah.
But I am honored that I get to talk about him.
Yeah. I'm honored I get to listen about him.
A war with Native Americans was mostly over by 1890. So by then, the 10th, 24th, and 25th Cavalries were sent to Florida to serve in the Spanish-American War, probably along with Jasper Cullen. And they fought bravely in extreme heat. And, there was also constant racism coming at them from the other soldiers. But regardless of this, they were still amazing at their jobs and earned a reputation for serving courageously and being some of the best military units.
Wow. And also Florida's just crazy on its own.
Oh my God. Can you imagine fighting a war in Florida in the swamp?
Literally every step of this story, I would have given up.
Oh my God. So fast. So fast.
So fast. Yeah. The freaking alligators, the bugs.
Yeah.
I like snakes, but not like that. Not like Florida wild ass snakes.
Not like water moccasins and alligators in the water with you.
I'm cool on that.
And it's like fucking hot and swampy. Oh my God. It's hard to imagine anything more miserable.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just going to say, they had described in the article Kat and I were reading, when they rescued the camp, it had been 15 days and 50 horses were rotting. And they said they had to put their camp upwind because there were black clouds of flies.
Oh no, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
And that was in Colorado. Can you imagine the war in Florida with dead bodies and flies in the swamp?
Oh my gosh, life was terrible.
Terrible.
They freaking did it though.
I'm
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. Also, like, I'm so glad I was born not back then.
Me too.
Yeah.
You're like, this was my ringworm.
Right. Yeah. Here I am battling ringworm. Their whole body was probably ringworm.
Everything is ringworm.
Yeah.
We all have our battles to fight.
Do you think they had Locherman in the Spanish-American War? No. You couldn't just go to Walgreens.
Ringworm spread like wildfire.
Oh my God. After the Spanish-American War, the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments went to the Philippines in the 1900s and fought there. Over and over again, they proved their worth in battle, but still, of course, were segregated and faced racism and discrimination. So much so that in World War I, they were mostly relegated to protecting the U.S.-Mexican border, so they weren't sent to Europe. They kind of got like the grunt job of just like border patrol, even though they were like some of the best cavalries that the U.S. military had. And then during World War II, the 9th and 10th regiments were merged into the 2nd Cavalry Division. And they did, I believe, go to Europe and fight in World War II. Buffalo Soldiers remained in their own all-black regiments until 1948, when Harry Truman issued Executive Order 9981, eliminating racial segregation in the U.S. Armed Forces. Mark Matthews was the longest living Buffalo Soldier, and he died in 2005 at the age of 111.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know people lived that old.
Me either. What do you think the oldest? He's probably like one of the oldest people ever, right?
I think the oldest person is like 130.
What?
Or was. Yeah. They're like close to it, I think.
Oh my God.
I think. Let's see.
That's crazy.
There was someone who died at 122.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even want to be that old.
Neither would I. As soon as I am like mentally not there, even if I can't walk, like I don't want to be incapacitated.
Yeah.
I don't think anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say, but yeah, it sounds tough to get old. Buffalo Soldiers had the lowest military desertion rate out of all the other cavalries, and they had the lowest court-martial rates of their time. So they were literally like the best regiments of soldiers. They won a lot of Congressional Medals of Honor. And yeah, that was just our quick overview of Buffalo Soldiers. Sam was obviously gone by that point. He served as a Buffalo Soldier for only about 5 years and then returned to civilian life in 1872. So, you know, he wasn't there for the Spanish-American War and all that. So he returned to civilian life. And then on December 23rd, so Christmas Eve, he married Mary D. Samuel in Wyandotte. Wyandotte. I bet it's called Wyandotte.
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 Come on down to Wyandotte. Get your cars at half off.
It's spelled Wyandotte. Probably Wyandotte. Wyandotte. And that's Wyandotte County in Kansas. The two had 2 daughters and a son. And in April of 1879, the family joined a wagon trail and moved from Leavenworth to Nicodemus.
Wow. I feel like the present day version of like joining a wagon trail is those people who get school buses and convert them into homes or like RVs.
But like literally not at all.
Yeah, it's just the non-equivalent thing in my head that I thought of.
Yeah, they're like hashtag wanderlust. Not all who wander are lost in their like covered wagon.
Love it.
They were much cooler than that. Nicodemus actually is also really cool. So I have a little bit about that. It was in Graham County, Kansas. It was founded in 1866. And by 1876, it had nearly 75 residents. And at this time, it was opening its doors to new residents, the vast majority of which were African Americans from Kentucky who were fleeing the South after the war for a better life. And by the summer of 1877, 300 black settlers had moved into the city. And this like mass exodus from the South had only just begun. There were these campaigns of white people who I think worked for the government, but they'd basically travel around the South and encourage African Americans to get on these wagon trains and move west to Kansas. And the reason they were doing this is because the government wanted people occupying this land and settling it. And of course, it was really easy to convince people who had just been freed from slavery to like leave the land where they were enslaved and go have free land in the West.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So like people were leaving the South in droves to settle this land in Kansas. There were other African American settlements in Graham County, but Nicodemus was like the hub. And they knew they were like the hub of African American cities. Before they even registered as a town, they like began to market themselves, and they called themselves, quote unquote, the largest colored colony in America. And they were right. The first major wave of another 350 settlers arrived in September of 1877, and the town continued to grow rapidly in the 1880s. The town had several prominent Black-owned businesses, which was super, super rare at the time. The town also experienced great financial success, especially in the mid-1880s when they had like a really good weather year, a few good weather years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So hell yeah, it was very exciting. And it was exciting for them because this meant really good crop yields. And this allowed even more businesses to open because at first, you know, it was a frontier town. So there weren't any like permanent buildings. They were kind of gathering whatever scrap wood they could and like living in dugouts and building these shanty towns. But with this good crop yield.
Give me that good.
Exactly. They were able to build permanent structures like out of stone and bricks. And in 1886 alone, they constructed 30 permanent buildings.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Getting busy with it. Okay.
Shit was popping off.
Why don't we learn about stuff like this in our public school history classes?
Right? Like this is literally like fundamental American history. And I didn't learn about this until college.
Right. Oh my. Oh, okay. Okay.
And
sorry.
like I was privileged to learn about it because like I was a history major. So like that's the only reason I was exposed to it.
Yeah,
and
I
most
know.
people weren't.
This is me learning about this specific part of American history.
Definitely. And I hope that at least in Kansas and surrounding states, they teach about this. But like honestly,
It wouldn't
that would be a
surprise me
stretch.
if it wasn't in the curriculum.
Right. Totally. So you're learning about it now.
Yay, thank God. This is why we do this podcast.
Definitely. Yeah.
So all y'all with cool ass papaws.
Yeah, write to us about your cool ass papaws and meemaws.
And to guarantee an episode, subscribe to us on Patreon.
Yes. And we will talk about your papa or meemaw as long as they were interesting, like Sam Garland.
Yeah. Cool relatives only.
Yes. Don't come at me with any of this boring shit. I don't want to know about how much she knitted. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the unfortunate part of this was that the town's economy depended on agriculture, which meant it also really depended on railroads, because if you didn't have a train going through your town, you couldn't sell your agricultural goods. So when the Missouri Pacific Rail Line and the Union Pacific Rail Line opted not to pass through the town, due to racism, the economy's development slowed dramatically. And many of the residents opted to leave, but the town remained a prosperous African-American community through World War II. And by 1910, the town had 600 residents, most of them, pretty good for a rural Kansas town.
Yeah, and if people were leaving since they couldn't have a livelihood.
Yeah.
600 ain't bad.
Yeah, it ain't bad. And Nicodemus still exists today. It's the longest lasting Black town in the state. Congress established the Nicodemus Historical Site operated by the National Park Service in 1996. Residents still host the Emancipation, which is an annual townwide event that it was first held in 1878. In 1976, the National Park Service designated Nicodemus as a National Historical Landmark District. So it's really fucking important. And in 1996, Congress designated Nicodemus as a National Historic Site. And yeah, you're right. We don't learn about this in public school. So that sucks. I do have a quote from the Kansas Historical Society. Quote, Nicodemus National Historic Site preserves, protects, and interprets the only remaining Western town established by African Americans during the Reconstruction period following the Civil War. The town of Nicodemus is symbolic of the pioneer spirit of African Americans who dared to leave the region they'd been familiar with to seek personal freedom and the opportunity to develop their talents and capabilities. And fun fact that I learned from Cheyenne, her family still lives in Nicodemus. Some of them, not all of them.
Wow.
But she still has ties there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that awesome?
I wonder if she's been back, if she's close to that family in Nicodemus.
I know. It's a bummer because I was messaging her on Patreon about my plans for this episode. And she was like, yeah, I told her that I wanted to delve into Nicodemus a little bit. And she's like, that's a great idea. I still have family there. And then she said, I have so many family stories and photos that I could give you. And I was like, please give them to me. But she never got back in time for me to include them.
Maybe we can put them on Instagram and TikTok with her permission.
Definitely. I'll ask her. So, Nicodemus is where Sam and his family lived. Sam was one of those successful Black business owners that I mentioned. He ran a hardware store and a real estate business. And then in 1880, the family briefly moved to Downs, Kansas before moving back to Graham County. Sam then helped organize a colony that would be another all African-American town called Manzola in southeastern Colorado. So he was just going around founding towns. And in 1888, the Garlands moved back to Downs, and Sam worked various jobs before taking over sanitation duties at a high school in 1898. Based on this article from the Osborne County Hall of Fame, the children all loved Sam. They called him a kindly and courteous gentleman. The school newspaper in 1914 wrote, quote, he was always ready to stop one student in the hall and tell him the latest joke.
Oh,
so he was kind of old at that point and just a happy, he worked at a school. He was one of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he lived in Downs with his wife until Mary died in 1931. And then after that, for the remainder of his life, I think 4 more years, he split his time between his 2 daughters' houses in different parts of Kansas.
That is so sweet.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And then sadly he died in 1936 and he was buried in the Napu Cemetery near Nicodemus. But his legacy lives on. In 1991, his great-grandson, Alonzo Gillian Alexander, performed a one-man show that depicted Sam in the U.S. Cavalry as a Buffalo Soldier. And so we certainly remember him. I'm sure Cheyenne remembers him. She was telling me that they at every family gathering, they're always talking about him. So I feel really grateful and privileged that I got to tell you the story of her relative. And I got most of my information from an article about him that she sent me from the Osborne County Hall of Fame, and then also from Wikipedia, history.com, kshs.org. And that's it. That is Sam Garland.
Amazing. Thank you for telling us all about his life and what a life he lived.
I know, truly.
Oh my gosh. And thank you, Cheyenne, for letting us tell this story and trusting us with this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cheyenne. I hope I did it justice. I've never been nervous for a lesson before, but I was so nervous for this one because I really didn't want to fuck up a story about your own relative. So I hope that I did okay.
Thank you, Cheyenne. And thank you, Kat.
You're welcome. Let's hear a word from our sponsor and we will be right back. You all know that we love Seventh Hill CBD, but we don't just love them because they're sponsoring us. They are truly a unique CBD product on the market because of how much their founders care about this product and the way it is produced. I have a quote here from their website that says, "Our passion is to cultivate beautiful hemp flower by combining the power of nature, sophisticated farming techniques, and our bare hands to craft impeccable and effective CBD products from seed to sale." This company truly does the whole process. They farm their CBD themselves, they process it, and they create their CBD products by bathing the flower directly in the oil. It is truly farm to table.
Yes, they don't use any chemicals. There are no pesticides. You can see they're on their website. There's this cute little praying mantis on one of their plants and also a ladybug. So if the bugs like it, then something's pretty great about it. And they're all organic ingredients. I was just thinking that for such a new industry in the United States, it's really refreshing to have something done right the first time. Like the CEOs are also the people who are farming the products that go into everything that Seventh Hill CBD does. And that just makes me personally feel really good about putting the products in my body.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're getting, and you know that it's the highest quality product you can. It's not made in a factory. It doesn't taste like chemicals. It tastes like the hemp products and the terpenes that have been added to it. All natural, just truly high quality, and that makes it even more effective.
Absolutely. Seventh Hill really is what you get when you combine nature, science, and passion, and it shows. So if you would like to get 20% off your order, use our code NIGHTCLASSY at seventhhillcbd.com. That's 20% off. Your code is NIGHTCLASSY.
Do it.
Okay, on a scale of from 1 to 10, 1 being you hate it, 10 being you love it, how much do you like leftovers, like food?
Ooh, I love when your lessons start with a question. I feel involved. Is this my bell work?
Yeah.
I love leftovers. I would say 10.
Okay, me too. I freaking love leftovers. And growing up, my brother Troy hates leftovers. So I always got my leftovers and his.
That's good. See, what I like about leftovers is you have lunch the next day. You don't have to make your lunch.
Yes.
And you get a hot lunch. You don't have to eat a sandwich. You can heat up your leftovers.
I hate cold sandwiches.
Really?
Yes. I prefer my food to be warm.
Oh, I definitely prefer my food. I mean, I like a cold sandwich every once in a while, but like not when you make it in the morning and then take it to work and it's soggy by the time you eat it.
The only cold sandwich I'll eat is a peanut butter and honey. And then if you make it in the morning, the honey crystallizes and it's like a little crunchy. It's very good.
Yeah, I liked those when I was a kid. I definitely remember like having them in my lunchbox, but then sometimes the honey like soaks through the bread and it gets like mushy.
Yeah, there's a science to it. You got to put a little bit of peanut butter on both on both pieces of the bread and put the honey in the middle.
That is the trick.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, the reason why I'm talking about leftovers is because Tupperware is often involved, and we're going to talk about Tupperware today.
Oh my God. Like the MLM?
Yeah, like the MLM. Yeah, we're going to talk about Tupperware. And also just in my research, I found out some things that people did before they used like Tupperware. I just wanted to share it real quick. The ancient Greeks and Romans would hike up mountains and bring back ice from the mountain wrapped in straw, and they put it in cellars where they could put some food on it / around it. And that's what they use to like try to keep any fall harvest food stored to keep throughout the winter.
Imagine having to cart ice from the mountain.
Yeah, imagine walking up a mountain.
Just put your food on the mountain. Why are we pulling the ice down?
Live on the mountain.
Live, laugh, love on the mountain with your Tupperware.
Be the mountain. Just mountain.
Mount the mountain.
Oh, ooh. Okay. But yeah, it was a long time before we got Tupperware. And people would also, before Tupperware came out, they'd store their food in glass or cloth. And people would oftentimes store it in like casserole dishes or whatever. And they would use shower caps. They'd put shower caps over the food. Yeah.
That's innovative.
I know, right?
Honestly, a great idea. Because when I do that, I use tinfoil, but that's terrible for the environment. Mm-hmm. Just buy some shower caps.
Yeah. You would think that they would have come up with something, but, I guess it wasn't that pressing of an issue.
Guess not.
Yeah, well,
that's what they came up with.
Earl Tupper came up with it, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it's not just a random ass name. Earl Tupper had a landscaping company, but it failed in the Great Depression. So he started working at a plastic factory, and they were still kind of figuring out how to use plastic, what it was good for, because it was really stinky and oily. So he brought it home and started messing around with it. And as a chemist, he started working with the plastic, and at the time, it was really new and unpopular because, it smelled bad and all those reasons. So he worked with it, and he found a way to make it flexible and durable, and he found a way to mold it into different shapes. So he specifically made a plastic container, and then he made a plastic lid to go with his plastic container.
What were they using plastic for when it was oily and stinky and you couldn't mold it into shape?
I don't know. I think they were trying to figure it out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he creates this plastic container in the lid, and he's like, now kith. And you don't have to go up the mountain to find a block of ice anymore. So now we have Tupperware, but the product placement and the marketing sucked ass. It was so bad. To say Tupperware was underwhelming would be an understatement. He had this wonderful product that, as we know, would end up being very popular, specifically the Wonder Bowl. The thing that made Tupperware so different was the burping lid design. Do you even know about this? With Tupperware? Okay. Basically, you have to press down in the middle, and the air is released so that it creates kind of like a suction with the lid. And that was called burping it. But
ew.
Yeah, I know. They couldn't have thought of a better name. Yeah.
I guess you just said he had terrible marketing, so that checks out.
Terrible.
You want to store your food in this burping lid?
Yeah.
No.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
I want to store my food in this burping lid. And that's my mouth.
She's pointing to her face.
So people didn't even know how to use them by just looking at them on the shelves. But Tupperware did win several design contests, and people would just pass it by nonetheless. And anyone who did buy it would return it because it seemed like the lid didn't fit to the container.
They had to be taught to use it.
Exactly. And I have another example of Earl Tupper's really bad marketing skills. He invented several things in his lifetime, including his Sure Stay bobby pins that offered a strong grip over all the other bobby pins. But he had this ad that did not go over well. Here's what it said. Many women wear more or less false hair. Wigs cost money, and romance or social prestige often hangs by the hairs of one's head.
Oh my God.
A good Sure Stay hairpin is needed.
So you didn't want to buy this product because you didn't want to admit you were using fake hair. You didn't want people to think you had fake hair.
Yeah, it's like you have to have a little finesse. Like, it's okay to have fake hair to wear a wig, but be tactful about it, Earl.
Right. And also, I'm sure a lot of women do wear wigs, but you also want to market this to women who don't.
Exactly.
Expand.
Just say that you want your hair to stay in place. That's all you have to say. You're doing too much, Earl.
Way too much. Or not enough.
At the same time, simultaneously doing too much.
You wouldn't think that's possible, but here Earl is really proving us wrong.
He really is. So at the same time Tupperware was failing on the shelves, a different company named Stanley Home sold these cleaning products. And they had started using the home party method to sell directly to consumers. And one very ambitious Stanley home rep encountered Tupperware one day, and she saw all the flaws with the marketing, but she also saw the potential that Tupperware had. And this woman is Brownie Wise. She bought up a bunch of Tupperware, and she started selling it while she was also selling these cleaning products at what she called her patio parties. Have you you ever heard of Brownie Wise?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. So Brownie Wise, she had some secretarial experience. She also wrote advice columns for newspaper. She was a big people person. Wow. She was a big people person, and she had tons of charisma. She knew how to motivate others, and she also knew how to get her way through charm, not through like manipulation. And at the time, she was divorced and a single mother to her son in the 50s and 60s, which, as we know, was pretty rare for that time. Like, people didn't really get divorced at that time. You just stayed with your shitty husband.
Just stuck it out.
Yeah.
Stand by your man.
Oh, God.
Don't
do it. She also rose up with only an 8th grade education, and we'll see why this was really impressive. But anyway, she took it upon herself to sell this Tupperware, and she absolutely dominated. She was selling more than any department store just by herself.
Dang.
So she was offered exclusive rights to sell Tupperware in Florida. And when she did that, she moved to Florida from Michigan, I believe. But as she was getting her, system all set up, she wrote a sales manual, and that would serve to be the Tupperware manual for sales reps for years to come. So she's doing her own thing. She's doing direct sales with this Tupperware, but Earl Tupper never liked the idea of direct sales. He was kind of a grouch, from what I understand. He was not charismatic. He didn't really like people. He didn't want to be in the limelight or anything like that. So no wonder he was so crappy of a marketer. I'm gonna burp. Oh my gosh. Call me Tupperware because I'm about to burp.
The burping lid. Just call her Hayley.
The Wonder Bowl, more like Wonder Hayley. Okay, so Earl Tupper hated the idea of direct sales, so he resisted it for a very long time, no matter how many times it was recommended to him. But the business...
Oh, weirdo.
I know. Like, stubborn much?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to be successful?
Right. Was he opposed to every other people doing direct sales, or he didn't want to go door to door and do direct sales?
That's a good question. I think probably both.
Yeah,
if, he's not really a people person.
I could see him not wanting to do it, but why not let other people do it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just extra
Just
controlling.
Mm-hmm. He just wanted it. He wanted to be bougie at department stores. Yeah.
He's like, Macy's or nothing.
Yeah.
Macy's or bust.
Fuck Macy's. I'm a Nordstrom girl.
Oh, hell yeah. Just kidding. I'm a Goodwill girl. What am I saying?
I'm a TJ Maxx girl. And Goodwill.
Give me a yard sale and I'm good to go. It's that extra element of feeling like you found treasure for me.
Oh, for me too. It feels good. And the spending less money for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I
cannot afford Nordstrom prices.
Not yet, anyway.
But I want Nordstrom clothes. Donate to us on Patreon.
Please. Yeah, Earl Tupper should have had a freaking Patreon because his business was suffering. So much so that he couldn't ignore this Tupperware selling blimp on his radar, who was Brownie Wise. So she became much more than just a random blimp on his radar of the whole vast blimp on his radar of the company. In March 1951.
I think it's blip.
It is. You said blimp. Is that a fat joke?
Oh my God. No, that's just me being stupid.
You're not stupid.
It's a little stupid.
Although I gotta say, you probably would see a blimp on a radar.
Yeah,
that's true.
But I think the blip, it when you're looking at a radar and there's something
because
and
it says blip.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. I mean, I've never seen a radar. So
well, it sounds like blimp to me. Blimp. That made me laugh way too hard. Anyway, in March 1951, there had been so many issues with shipping and supply with Tupperware that Brownie's business was in danger. And she was like, F that, I'm going to freaking call Earl Tupper himself. So she called up the headquarters, demands to speak to Earl Tupper directly. And Earl Tupper was a real stickler for respect. So he was not happy with Brownie.
Like, just leave me alone with my bobby pins and my Tupperware.
Yeah,
don't
I'm trying
talk to me.
I don't want to hear it. Also, I'm probably socially awkward.
Definitely.
Talking to literally anyone reminds me of my flaws.
He like takes a bobby pin and uses it to like pinch her mouth shut.
We've all been there. So yeah, he's not pleased because she's demanding things and not necessarily being tactful about the way she's doing so. But he also knew that she sold more Tupperware in a week than anyone else did anywhere. So he was like, all right, I'll sort out these issues. I'll get this worked out. And he did. And not long after that phone call, Earl Tupper reached out to Brownie Wise and he asked her to join his company at the executive level in the position of a general sales manager. And that was in 1951. Sales shot through the roof under Brownie Wise's leadership. At the end of the year, the board elected Brownie to be vice president. And then within her second year as a woman, again, in 1952, in an executive level position, Tupperware sales were over $2 million. And
Dang.
in today's money, she was making like $273,000.
She should be making way more than that. What the hell?
Yeah, I guess so.
As a
you're
VP?
right. She was a woman after all.
I guess.
Yeah. Either way, she was making a lot of money. And this was all because they were using the party method. And Brownie Wise was made sure to make these parties really fun because they had to show the durability of the bowls and how they worked. So it was really successful because they were able to do all of that and demonstrate them in person. She would throw the plastic across the room to show how durable it was. There were always drinks and snacks.
It makes me think of that Napoleon Dynamite scene where like what's his face is selling
Oh,
Tupperware
yeah.
and they like drive over it with the car and it just shatters.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not going to let you do anything with your car, but I will throw it across the room.
Yeah.
That was the best scene in that movie. I loved that.
When they're when they're just like awkwardly sitting on the couch, like trying to sell Tupperware to those weird people. They drive over it with the car.
I felt like a Napoleon Dynamite yesterday because I gave Safty some wet food and he's so tired of eating the same flavor. I was like, Safty, eat your food.
He's spoiled now because you know what? He's been eating my cat's food because he won't eat his food when I lock him in the room with his food. So I just feed him with all the other cats. But then Ghost and Ernie are eating their food and he goes over, pushes Ghost out of the way, eats his food, and then Ghost has to eat Safty's food.
What a dick. I'm going to stop buying his special food.
Yeah, don't even bother because he hasn't been eating it at our house.
He was really stinky, so that makes sense.
I know. He farted in my room and he must have farted because I thought one of them pooped in my room and I was crawling around on the ground looking for the poop because it smelled that bad.
Yeah, it's bad. His bowels are not functioning correctly.
So I'm sorry I fed him our cat's food, but he won't eat when he's alone. So I didn't know what to do.
He's such a fucking brat about it.
Because he'll sit in the room all by himself. He's supposed to eat his food, but then he won't eat it and he'll wait until I open the door and then run out and check the other cat's bowls, which are empty, and then they go in there and eat his food, and so then he starves.
Right.
But he doesn't learn.
No, he doesn't. You want to know why? Because there was no more dry food at Tommy's house. So we fed him dinner, wet food, didn't eat it. The next morning, fed him breakfast, Friday morning, didn't eat it. We got back and there were still the 2 piles because we were like, he'll get hungry like soon enough.
Yeah, he's just been spoiled because our cats, I mean, they get like good food. The main ingredient is like tuna or whatever, but like it is smelly and Safty's food doesn't really smell.
Yeah.
They like the smelly stuff.
Well, that's a story for a different time. Yeah. At these Tupperware parties, Brownie loved it. She was able to be social and around people, and people loved her. And these housewives who went to them also wanted to be social. You know, they didn't want to just be locked up in the kitchen. They made the parties fun by wearing like funny hats. And guests could win. One of their like main gags of these parties was guests could win Tupperware minis for writing the best hypothetical ad to sell their husbands.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And these housewives were also able to own their own money because in this post-war America, men were coming back from war to fill the positions again that they left, and these women were pushed out and they were filled just like that. So they had to sell Tupperware, I guess. Women were left high and dry. And then came the baby boom. So the baby boom. Sorry, I'm like trying to go
baby
fast.
blimp.
I'm all nervous. The baby blimp. 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 So these suburbs were full of white middle-class families. It made the perfect fucking storm for Tupperware parties. And people ate it up.
White middle-class families love Tupperware.
Yeah, they fuck with it hard. Also, the face of the company was, of course, these white suburban housewives, but Tupperware was popular in Black and Latinx communities too. But you know, America's racist, so there's a lot less documentation of that. Tupperware was very popular in Europe. There were tons of parties all over the place. They did have a strict dress code enforced at the parties in Europe, so the women had to wear skirts and tights, and they had to wear white gloves to finish the look. Yeah. So you could spot a Tupperware rep from a mile away.
They're like trying to show them how you can put like leftover spaghetti in a Tupperware with their white gloves, and they're just getting spaghetti sauce all over their white gloves.
Yeah, the one time your Tupperware rep has had a really tough day and she gets something on her white gloves and just throws the Tupperware. And
she has like a Tupperware full of extra white gloves in the back of her car.
Pulling off the white gloves. So if you know about Pampered Chef, right? Yeah. So Tupperware is pretty much like that. It kind of set the scene. They weren't the first to do it, but we can all pretty much picture what these Tupperware parties were like. One of the things that they did to set these appointments, though, was called carrot calling. And that's when they would go door to door to gives the people at the door a product, and they'd give them 2 carrots. One went in the Tupperware, and then one went in whatever way that the housewife would typically store a carrot. And then the Tupper party would be rescheduled for later that week or a week later, where they would compare the Tupperware carrot with the other guy carrot.
That's interesting. That's a great idea.
Yeah, they got to see it right in front of their eyes. So Brownie Wise was full of great ideas, and the housewives freaking loved it. More and more women were joining in on this movement. They were being recruited and trained to represent Tupperware at these house parties, and there was definitely room for growth. Women could be promoted from dealer to manager, and those who did really well could even fill regional distributor positions to oversee Tupperware sales in their area.
And I feel like at the time, like even if you weren't super successful selling, you could it was a way to hang out with your friends. Like you could tell your controlling husband like, oh, like this is my job, I'm going to go sell. And like, even if you don't sell that much, you get to have a party with your friends when like you might not get to otherwise.
Yeah, it's fun. It could be a way to make money. At the very least, maybe earn some free Tupperware.
Yeah,
definitely. There was also this thing. There was a catch for these women who could get into like these higher level positions with Tupperware. Some of the positions were only possible for women to fill them if their husbands were willing to quit their day jobs and join their wives in the Tupperware business, because women weren't allowed to have business loans or their own bank accounts.
Oh my God.
At the time.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so shitty. Like I didn't even know or think that I don't know when I thought women were allowed to have their own bank accounts, but
yeah, it wasn't until like pretty recently. But like it's weird that like the husband couldn't just like co-sign on it. Like he had to quit his job and like
I don't know. Yeah, it was like you have to be committed type thing. So business was booming, but the relationship between Brownie Wise and Earl Tupper was not. They really never got along. They just kind of dealt with each other, much like the way you, me, and Alec do for this podcast. I'm just kidding. But between Brownie Wise and Earl Tupper, I'm not joking. Angry letters would often be exchanged between the two of them. Brownie had issues with Earl's lack of public investment in the company. Brownie was the face of the company. That's something that they decided. And she was even the first woman on the cover of Business Week. But since Earl was really big on respect, it became an issue for him how tactless Brownie could be when bringing up these issues with him. In one letter, she was pushing Earl to make a president's club for the company to reward the higher level sales reps. And she wrote, if this company had a president who was active at all in the sales picture, ... we could have a president's club like Avon, Fuller, and Real Silk have ... But since we don't have that kind of president, we make do with other gimmicks.
I love all the ellipses.
Me too.
She really understood tone.
She's like, I need to yell at you through this letter.
Yeah. ...
You know what that means.
Earl.
Earl Tupper dealt with these disagreements since the sales were explosive in a good way, but he started to get more annoyed with all this fame that Brownie Wise was getting. I don't think it was necessarily out of jealousy, but there were some pictures of her published, and in these pictures there was no Tupperware product, and he was worried that she was more concerned with herself being famous than Tupperware being successful. But everything was fine with the sales. They were still going up, and these pictures were highlighting her for being a woman in business. So I feel like it was kind of like a control, misogynistic type
that's what
thing.
It sounds like.
Yeah, not good. The company under Brownie Wise, she started to hold these celebratory Tupperware Jubilees every year to celebrate the year of sales and congratulate the top earners and recruiters. Each year for these Jubilees, there was a new theme, such as Around the World in 80 Days, Arabian Nights, and it wasn't like you just got a plaque if you sold the most Tupperware. Top sellers were rewarded with things like German clocks, fur coats, diamond rings, full-on wardrobes full of designer clothes.
Whoa.
Yeah. The very first Jubilees theme was Gold Rush, and Brownie Wise leaned hard into this theme. She had jewelry in gold buried all around the headquarters land, and attendees were led on this kind of like scavenger hunt to dig up buried treasure.
Oh my gosh.
She's
like, work, bitches.
Yes. Have you ever
She's
seen
making them dig? Are they wearing like a ball gown?
Yeah.
Digging up gold.
Yeah. She's like, you're going to earn it.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it though.
She's just in her like big gold dress wearing like a huge blonde wig, like yelling at people to dig up gold with their hands. Oh my God.
Dig, you peasant. So that was a ton of fun. And even years later, I forget what year, but maybe even not decades. Wait, is decade 10 years? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Decades later. I forget what year it was, but a bunch of time later, they were like making a pool or like a fountain or something in that land, and they found a bunch of treasure from that party that had never gotten dug up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't remember. It was like gold, or they didn't specify from my source.
Just chunks of gold.
Yeah. Plastic, oily, painted in gold. Yeah. I would hope they put it in Tupperware to protect it from the elements.
You would think.
But you never know.
It's hard to tell. I mean, with such a brilliant idea for a party is having people dig up their own gold.
Yeah, these Jubilees definitely evolved. But that's not to say that all of them went well. In 1957, the Jubilee was an island party theme, and Brownie Wise planned it on the beach of an island that she owned. To her dismay, a thunderstorm came in and ruined the whole party, not just because it was storming, but because over 1,200 of her guests all flocked to the boats to get back to the mainland. Several boats crashed in the terrible weather.
Oh my God. Well, she kind of did get her island theme with a tropical storm.
That's true. You didn't specify what kind of island party it was going to be.
Yeah.
She's like, this is Survivor.
It's authentic.
Did they die?
No one died, but 21 people ended up in the hospital.
Oh my God.
And Tupperware was involved in legal suits for years to come.
Oh my, but it's not their fault.
I mean, in the eye of the law, it's someone's fault.
I suppose. Yeah, it's a survivor. You're dropped on a desert island with just a Tupperware. See how long you can live.
The original fire festival.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just a bread and cheese sandwich in a Tupperware.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Earl Tupper was not pleased with that whole situation. He ended up firing Brownie Wise in 1958 after this disastrous jubilee and after an 8% drop in sales from the previous year. So the official story goes that Earl fired her because of all of these expenses from the jubilee, but there are a couple other reasons as well. The press at the time also suggested that Brownie Wise was responsible for all of the success Tupperware was having, which she was. She freaking didn't build that company, but she really lifted it up.
Yeah.
But Earl Tupper was not pleased for this. He wanted credit because, he created it and, just a little bit of jealousy. Another reason could be that multiple people had asked Earl Tupper to buy him out of Tupperware, and Earl didn't think he would be able to sell Tupperware with a woman as an executive.
But she was like on Business Week.
Yeah, she's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's just misogynistic, but not enough to not hire a really good salesperson. I don't know.
So, I mean, it sounds like he had to hire her.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true. He had to just swallow his pride, especially because he didn't even like direct sales in the beginning.
Yeah.
So Brownie and Earl were definitely not on good terms by the end of her time at Tupperware. When he fired her, Brownie and her son were given 60 days to vacate their home, which Tupperware owned. It was a freaking mansion. She was given a settlement of 1 year's salary, but she didn't even get any stock in the company. And Earl banned any mention of Brownie Wise from the company's literature. She was erased from Tupperware history.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Also, why did they own her home?
They just had like a house or whatever. It's kind of like a company car, but it's a company mansion. Yeah.
Living in my company mansion.
I freaking wish.
Yeah. Is my principal listening? Because I'd like a company mansion.
They're like, yeah, this is your company mansion, your shared house with the 3 other roommates.
Or your classroom. They're like, you have a smart board. Shut up.
Right. Yeah. I have 2 smart boards, one of which doesn't work, but still.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks good. I actually just hung a tapestry over that whiteboard because it was this big, ugly white thing in my room. And for some reason, for a preschool sped classroom, the district gave us all this really bright, colorful furniture when what we need is something that's not overstimulating for the senses. So I'm trying to like calm the classroom down so that kids don't get in there and immediately have trouble. Yeah. So anyway, back to Brownie Wise. She's erased from Tupperware history, and she went on to hold other high-level sales jobs. She developed real estate. She got into pottery, whatever. She was fine. She found great success from Tupperware, and it helped her out a bunch. She died at 79 in 1992, and now Tupperware does proudly recognize her contribution to the company.
Yes.
Right. They're like, oh, oops.
That was a bad choice.
Now, Earl Tupper went on to sell Tupperware, which he sold it to Rexall, which is owned by Kraft, like the mac and cheese. And he retired to Costa Rica, where he eventually became a citizen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Expat.
So he was like, peace out.
Bye.
These days, Tupperware stays on top. Even today, there's a Tupperware, at least pre-COVID, there's a Tupperware party held every 1.4 seconds.
Really? I didn't know it was still direct sales.
It is. Wow. There are over 500,000 parties held in France alone. It's still $1 billion industry, bringing in over $2.26 billion in revenue in 2017. And the Guinness Book of World Records named Tupperware one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century. It was a great invention, but it couldn't have been what it was without Brownie Wise. So Shout out to Tupperware. Shout out to Brownie Wise, definitely. And fuck you, Earl Tupper.
Yeah, fuck you, Earl.
My sources are Good Housekeeping, Wikipedia, Time Magazine, History.com, Mental Floss, New York Post, and PBS. That's my lesson.
That was a great lesson. I loved
Thank you.
that. Thank you, Hayley. And if you all enjoyed these lessons, please help us out. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend about us. Check out our merch and maybe even join our Patreon. Thank you for listening. And 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.